So my sister got a song stuck in my head before this, and now it won't stop playing. You want to know what song it is? Yeah. Now that song's stuck in your head too. You're welcome. Hi. So today I'm going to tell you guys about the time that I crashed our Sequoia into the garage of our house. So it was summer of 2012 and I had just finished my freshman year of college, okay? And so I didn't have my license yet. I only had my permit. And I know, what a disgrace. I was like 19 and I didn't have my license. I know. There's not an excuse for that. I'm kind of a bum. I get that from my parents. They're kind of lazy too. And so I went to driver's ed and like it was like a 3-class type deal. So like, wait, no, I went for a week and then I did the test and I passed, whatever, got my permit. And then I did like the driving portion of driver's ed, but then I never went to go get tested for that because my driver's ed at the time didn't offer like a car to take. My parents didn't trust me with their cars apparently. I guess it makes sense. You wouldn't want your kid driving your car, I guess. I didn't have my license basically. And so because I didn't have my license, I would take my bike to places, or more specifically to the market, because I didn't have a life. It's not like I went places with my bike. The only time I would use my bike would be when I would go to the market and my mom told me she needed something. So this was one of those situations, guys, okay? So I would take my bike whenever she needed something small, like if she needed milk, if she needed bread, like anything that would travel well on my bike, I'd go to the market for. And so on this particular day, it was back in June. It was early summer, like smack dab at the beginning of summer. My mom had needed milk, but she also needed eggs. Eggs don't travel well on my bike. And so when she asked me to get milk and eggs, I was like, what am I supposed to do? So what did young Valerie do in this situation? She took the Sequoia. My mom had her car. I don't remember what she was driving at the time. And my dad had his car. And I want to say it was a Corolla at the time. I want to say that's what it was. And so the Sequoia was more there for family trips. And so it would always be parked in our driveway. And so I had access to it. I knew where the key was, whatever. And I knew the basic functions of a car. So I knew how to start it. I knew how to reverse, like the basic stuff. So I decided to take the Sequoia. I get in the car. I'm all like nervous because one, I'm not supposed to take the Sequoia. This was me like breaking rules. Typical me though. Typical, as you will learn soon enough on this channel. I get in the car, I start it. I was able to reverse and, go to the market. Everything was fine. I followed the laws. I was really nervous, I remember, because, I didn't drive a whole lot. So I was like, I made it to the market in one piece and I parked, and I was at the time I was so proud that like I parked like in the lines, but I parked like so dumb. Like my wheels were all turned, like, so like the slot was straight, because all slots are straight, but it was straight, and so I like pulled in, but I like turned, and so like, I don't know, my wheels are just but I was so proud. And so I go into the market. I get the milk and the eggs, and I actually think she wanted bread too, now that I think about it. So I get the milk and the eggs, smooth sailing. Get in the car, put them in the car. and we're rolling. We're on our way home, okay? It was a short trip. This was not a long trip. So I drive and I get home. This is where the magic happens, kids. And the way my garage is set up, there's enough room for 3 cars, and we always had it parked on like the 3rd car spot-ish, if that makes sense, because you know how like it curves for a 3rd spot? So we'd always park it there, so it was out of the way of the other 2-car garage attached to it. And so I pull up. Here's the house. You're the house. You guys are the house. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going. Here's the third car slot. So I turn, I go in, and for the most part, it looked like it hadn't moved. Like if I had parked it, if I put it in park, it looked like I didn't take the car to the market. It would have been smooth sailing. But it's me. So it wasn't. I'm in the spot. My foot's on the brake. And I was like, yes, cool, nailed it, whatever. So I forget to put it in park. And I take my foot off the brake. It starts rolling back. And so me, I'm not a person that panics. I don't panic when I'm driving now, or at all. I'm not much of a panicker. It drives some people in my life crazy. They're not big fans of that. I'm just chill. I'm level-headed. So anyway, at this time, because I wasn't supposed to take the car, so I was already on edge. I wasn't supposed to take the car. I only had my permit. I wanted to make sure that the car looked like it hadn't been driven that day. So I take my foot off the brake and it starts rolling back. I panic. Instead of braking, I hit the gas. I went straight into the garage. But like, we have a pillar. I'm gonna insert pictures actually. I'm gonna put them here. I hope. I'll try to put them here. I'm not a YouTuber. It's a middle pillar and I drove straight into that and it was bent so far in. So at that point, I hit the brakes and I parked it. How do I explain it? I drove into the thing and then I broke and then I was like, oof, turned to my left. So like, you know, I'm in the driver's side, so there's a window and I see that my neighbor saw this whole thing. And I was like, and I looked at him, I was like, shit. He didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So I was like, yeah. Whenever I made a mistake that maybe my parents wouldn't like, I'd always somehow manage to cover it up by, I don't know, like hiding it or fixing it, or this was definitely something I could not hide or fix. I get out of the car. I take the milk and the eggs and the stuff inside, because you know, we don't want the milk to spoil, kids. Priorities. Based on the severity of the situation, I knew my mother would respond better than my father would. So I texted her first, and I remember it was this long paragraph. No, it was a group message. I messaged both of my parents at the same time so that if one parent was angrier than the other, then one could like chill them out a little bit, you know what I mean? Which now that I think about it, probably was also a bad idea, because that could have gone the other way and they could have made each other angrier about the situation. But that didn't happen, so it's fine. So I texted them. It was a group message. My dad had an Android, my mom had an iPhone, and I had an iPhone. So you know how like Androids get the message like individually, it's not like part of a group message. It was back then, 2012. And so I remember texting this whole paragraph like,
so I went to the market and I bought the milk and the eggs, and I wanted to take the Sequoia because I couldn't take the eggs and the milk in my bike, and everything was fine. And then I got home and then the car started rolling back, and so I crashed into the garage.
My mom, as I knew she would be, was level-headed and was like, okay, send me pictures of the damage, want to see how bad it is. And I don't think they were expecting how bad the garage looked. You had to make a new garage, basically. And so I sent the pictures, and in the meantime, like, my dad's responding all late to these things because, you know, I'm sending pictures and he's over here yelling like, send pictures, where are the pictures? Like, Dad, you have an Android. You're gonna have to wait a little bit. Because I was sending them at the same time, but you know, like, Android, it was delayed for him, basically. I can't remember a lot of the conversation now, but I do remember, like, my dad constantly saying, like, you don't have your license, you don't have your license, you don't have your license. Why did you take the car? And I was telling him, I had to go to the market because Mom wanted eggs and milk. I can't take eggs and milk in my bike. I don't have a basket. The eggs were gonna break. It would have been dumb. I'm sorry. And so they look at the damage, and it was, as you saw, it was pretty bad. So they had to board up the garage. We got it redone. We got it redone because my mom called the insurance, and she was able to lie to them and tell them that I was just moving the car from the street to the driveway, and then I crashed into the garage. She was there. I didn't drive on local streets because, you know, you can't with just a permit without an adult or something. That worked. So we got a new garage. After that, the Sequoia was not severely damaged. But after the whole incident, everything just went wrong with that car. The AC broke. In that Sequoia, we had like that DVD, and so like the screens were behind like the headrest, and like we had a screen in the middle. That stuff stopped working. Like, so after that situation, I actually got my license that summer because my parents were like, "Oh, you probably need your license now, don't you?" Yeah. And so I actually went to driver's ed that summer again, but this time it was in LA because over there my parents knew that they were gonna put me in the car right away and I was just gonna learn, and they were actually gonna lend me a car to take the test over there. So yeah, I was able to get my license that summer, and now I'm fine. Now I drive all the time and I don't crash into garages or anything. People crash into me, but that's another story. I actually have to take an after photo. I just remember that, so I'm gonna go do that right now. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks! Don't forget to like and subscribe at the bottom. Let me know in the comments what you thought about me crashing into a garage, because I'm dumb. I was a dumb 19, 20-year-old, however old I was. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, kids. Let's try this again. Okay. This lighting's so sad, like my soul. It was the summer of 2012. I almost said 17. That would be this past summer. Feeling so extra ecstatified. It's the best day.